Happy vending.
Hello, it's Bill, and today I'm going to be extending this Nayax credit card reader on this Royal GIII Coke machine. Now, I've already installed the unit, but I'm not happy about the placement of it because when you go to run a credit card in here, and I'm just going to use this card as an example, when you come on it, the credit card hits the trim piece on the front of the machine, and then they have to put it about here before pulling it down. And sometimes it doesn't always work because it's coming down crooked. So I want to extend this out about a ½ inch so that when the credit card's in there, it comes down straight. Now, if you look over here on this other GIII machine, I've already extended this one out. So when the credit card goes in there, it's nowhere near the trim piece on the machine. You can come down straight with it. And if you come here on the side, you can see that I've extended it out with another backing plate. And Nayax will sell you an additional back for these readers so that you can actually sandwich two of them together to bring it out that extra ½ inch. Now, the reason I put the reader here is because I wasn't removing the bill acceptor. These are actually designed to fit right in this bezel where the bill acceptor is, and it will fit perfectly there, and it will be nowhere near the trim piece. But I wanted to have the bill acceptor and the credit card reader. Now, some bottlers will put the credit card reader here on the plexiglass front and avoid the point of sale window completely. I don't like the look of that. I think it looks nicer here having it on the point of sale window. To black out the rest of the point of sale window, I just put some black electrical tape on the left and right side so you don't see what remained on that point of sale window, which was basically just a sign that said thank you or Coke or whatever. When you order the extra backing plate from Nayax, this is what they'll send you. They'll send you this black plate, which is identical to the one that's on there, and then they'll send you 4 screws that are longer than the original screws that attach this backing plate to the yellow reader part. What I found out, though, is these screws that they send you are actually the wrong type of screw. These are machine threaded screws. The screws that are in there are more of like a wood screw type threading. So these actually will not work. I went to the hardware store and had to get replacement wood screws to make this work, which I'll show you later. But let's get started on this project. The first thing you really want to do is turn off the power to your machine. I'm simply going to unplug it. The reason for that is we're going to be disconnecting these modules, and you should never unplug them when you have power going hot to the machine, because you could blow out your bill acceptor, blow out credit card reader, or worst case scenario, blow out your motherboard. So I'm just going to push this away from the wall and unplug it. Now that the power is unplugged, I'm going to open up the machine. Go into the inside of it. First thing we'll do, just remove the cartridge for the bill acceptor. And to get to the credit card reader, we have to remove the entire bill acceptor. And what you need for this is a ratchet with a 9mm socket on it. I use a deep socket, and we come in here, we remove these upper bolts, put them somewhere where you're not going to lose them. This is the other upper bolt. And then you just simply have to loosen the lower bolts. Now, if you find it hard to get in here because of this metal bar, sometimes I just loosen the one side and take off the screw on the other side, and then flip this up just to get it out of the way. You don't have to take it off completely, but don't lose your screw. And now you just have to loosen these lower nuts on the bill acceptor. So you can pull it forward and then pull it up. If it's too tight, loosen a little bit more. Just pull this up and out and unplug that side plug and put that somewhere safe. Now you have to take off this metal security plate. It has a couple screws on this one up here. Remove those screws. And then back here is the point of sale window where I've mounted my Nayax reader. Now, I didn't drill a hole through the security plate, but I've actually discovered from later installations that it's best to drill a hole in this to run this yellow wire through. So you go through the security plate and through the point of sale window. Then you don't put all this pressure on this cord. So since I have this apart right now, I'll be drilling a hole in this security plate at that spot right there. In fact, I'll mark it. All right, now I have the security plate. I'm just going to drill a hole for the wire to go through. It's a 1532 bit, should be wide enough. Always remember to wear eye protection. There we go. It's also a good procedure to file any metal burrs that are on this security plate so they don't cut into your wire that's going through that. You want that as smooth as possible. Okay, so now I'm just going to remove this point of sale window that has the reader on it. I'm going to get in here with a flathead screwdriver just to disconnect this yellow cable. It's like a phone cable. It's got a little plastic latch on it. And now what I have to do is remove these 4 mounting screws that mount it to the point of sale window, and then we'll take this off. Now this comes off, and you can see the way the point of sale window originally looked. Here's where I put the electrical tape just to black out the rest of this thirsty label that was there. I drilled holes in there to get the cord through that needed to go to the reader. Now we need to remove these 4 little screws in here so that we can put the second plate, the second backing plate on there, and put new screws, which are longer, which will go straight through both of these into the yellow piece. So we need to remove these 4 screws. You need a small screwdriver for that. Okay, I'm on the last screw here. About to take this one out. And now they should come apart. Now, you could just knock out these little screws and put the new back plate on top of that one. It actually goes like this. The only problem with that, and the reason I don't do it this way, is because the serial number for your reader is on the first plate and there's no serial number on the second plate. So what I do is I switch the position of them. I actually take this off completely, put the secondary backing plate down first, and then put the original backing plate on top of that. Line it up and push it together. And now you have double the width. You know, each one of these is about a 1/2 inch, so you're coming off with the gasket over 1 inch coming back away from the machine. But here's the screws that are originally in there. It's almost like a wood screw there. And these are the screws that they send you with the new plate. Yes, they are longer, but they're a machine thread, and they will not hold these together, so there's really no need for that. So I went to the hardware store. I got a couple different ones at the hardware store, and these are just wood screws, threaded similar to these. It's a number 6 screw. And then I got some longer ones because in doing this to another machine, I discovered this one, which was the length of the one that they gave me, was not quite long enough on a few of these. So if I find that this isn't biting in one of these holes, then I go with the longer one. All right, I'm down to the last screw. I used the 1 1/4 inch screw lengths for these 3, but this bottom right, the 1 1/4 was not long enough, so I'm using this 1 1/2, which is a little longer, so that that one bites and makes a nice tight seal on the corner. Make sure they're all nice and snug. Don't over tighten them, but you do want it snug together. And now we can put this unit back onto the point of sale window with the 4 original screws that I originally had it held on with. All right, just making these final screws on the point of sale window nice and snug. You don't want some vandal being able to easily pull this off. It's good. That should hold. And there you go. Now it's coming out the right amount, ready to go in the machine. All right, so now let's put in the point of sale window with the Nayax reader attached. Then the security plate goes back in with the hole that I drilled. Now my hole is a little off from where it needs to be, so I'm going to put the wire in through the security plate first, then feed it into the point of sale window, putting the wire in there, line it up, and I'm going to push it down with this screwdriver, and I heard it click, so now it's good to go. Put this up in here, get that lined up, put the security plate where it needs to go, and now that wire comes through there nicer than it did before, and it just has to go up to make room for the bill acceptor. Now I have the security plate screwed back in at the top, and now it's time to put the bill acceptor back in. Line up your connector, put that in first, make sure you push that in good and snug. I'm gonna put the bottom in first, go behind my 2 nuts that I left on there, make the credit card reader wire go up high, keep it out of the way, and then just push this whole thing forward to get it onto the front bolts. There we go. Now it's ready to put all of the nuts back on and tighten them up. Don't make any one too tight until you get all the nuts on there and make them snug. All right, just tightening up this bar that goes across, throw on the back. Now you can see this is all finished up here. security plate back there. You can see the wire coming off of the reader with some slack. Comes over to the modem for the reader, which is over here on the side. This is magnetic. I just have it placed right here. Antenna is up inside the door for the credit card reader, and everything looks like it's ready to power on. So before you leave, you should test the credit card reader and the bill acceptor. Now the credit card isn't interfering with the trim. Plenty of space there.
Please wait for confirmation.
Everything seems to be working there. We'll try it with the bill acceptor, make sure that still works properly. Credit card and bill acceptor is working, and we are not interfering with the trim. That's all for this tutorial. Like always, happy vending.